Attention seniors, the Elder Care Protection Act is now officially in effect. Here's what you need to understand. This is being kept quiet. The update that changes the landscape. Don't swipe past this, because what I'm about to explain could put thousands of dollars back into your bank account. And yet, most older Americans still have no idea this even happened. A major piece of legislation just cleared the United States Senate and has been quietly described as one of the most important senior-focused laws in decades. It's called the Elder Care Protection Act. And if you're over 60, if you're helping an aging parent, if you're close to retirement, or if you depend on Social Security and Medicare right now, this law directly affects your money, your medical coverage, your housing situation, and your future. But here's the part that should frustrate you. Most major media outlets are barely covering what's actually inside it. They ran the headline, then moved on to the next story. Meanwhile, seniors across the country have no clear understanding of what this law contains, what they're legally eligible to receive, or, most importantly, what deadlines they could miss if they don't act quickly. Some benefits take effect automatically. Many do not. Some require applications, others require you to update records, and several have enrollment windows that once missed may be gone until the next cycle or longer. So today, we're going to break it all down, each major change, in simple language. No complicated wording, no political slant, just practical, real-world financial information about what just changed for retirees and the people who love them. Grab paper, write notes, and share this with every senior you care about. Let's start. The background, where this law came from and why it matters. For decades, seniors have been trying to live inside a system that often wasn't designed with them in mind. Prescription drug prices that felt impossible to justify. Care facilities operating with almost no real oversight. Social Security increases that didn't match actual living costs year after year. And rising senior financial exploitation that wiped out retirement savings for far too many hardworking people. These weren't minor inconveniences. These were full-scale emergencies playing out quietly in homes across America. And for a long time, lawmakers didn't treat them with the urgency they deserved. The Elder Care Protection Act changes that. It's one of the most wide-reaching senior-centered laws in modern American policymaking. It touches nearly every area that becomes critical after 60: healthcare, housing, finances, mental health, caregiving, and personal safety. And we need to go through it carefully because the news cycle moves fast. The real savings and real protection are in the details, the practical changes that affect your everyday life and your family's decisions. Section 1. Prescription Drug Price Restructuring. Real savings back in your account. Let's begin with the update that has pharmaceutical companies on edge. Prescription drug pricing reform. If you're on Medicare, this is something many people have waited years to hear. For a long time, Medicare, the largest buyer of prescription medications in the country, was legally barred from negotiating drug prices directly with drug manufacturers. Think about that. The biggest purchaser of medications in the US wasn't allowed to use its size to negotiate lower prices. Private insurance companies could negotiate. The Department of Veterans Affairs could negotiate. But Medicare, covering more than 65 million Americans, could not. The result was that seniors in the US paid some of the highest prices in the world for the same medications people in Canada, Germany, and Japan often paid far less for. The Elder Care Protection Act expands and accelerates that drug price reform process. Under the new provisions, Medicare can negotiate pricing for a much wider list of medications, and those negotiated prices begin sooner than before. In practical terms, if you're currently paying $200, $300, or $500 per month for medications related to diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, blood pressure, or cholesterol, there's a real chance those costs will drop, not someday far down the road, but on a rollout schedule that has already started. The law also places a cap on annual out-of-pocket prescription spending for Medicare beneficiaries. That sets a legal maximum on what you'll pay in a year, regardless of how many prescriptions you need or how expensive they are. For seniors who have been forced to choose between medicine and groceries, this isn't a small improvement, it's life-changing. Section 2. Social Security Updates. More money in each payment. Now let's talk about Social Security, because this is where people understandably get energized. Social Security has been the financial backbone of retirement in America since 1935. It was intended as a serious promise. You work, you contribute, and when you can no longer work, the system supports you. Over time, that promise started to feel less secure to many retirees. Cost of living adjustments, COLA, are supposed to protect benefits against inflation. Each year, the Social Security Administration reviews inflation and updates monthly payments. But here's what seniors have said for years. The inflation formula used does not reflect how older Americans actually spend. The standard calculation tracks spending patterns for urban wage earners, things like gas, electronics, and work-related costs. But seniors spend differently. You spend more on healthcare, prescriptions, in-home support, and utilities, categories that often rise faster than much of the economy. The Elder Care Protection Act addresses this directly. It pushes toward adopting an inflation index designed specifically around senior spending patterns. Translation: your yearly Social Security adjustment would better reflect what your life truly costs. Over time, that can mean hundreds more dollars each year in your account. On fixed income, an accurate adjustment year after year compounds into something significant. The law also reinforces Social Security's long-term funding. The trust fund had been projected to approach depletion in the mid-2030s, which could have triggered automatic benefit reductions. Nobody wanted that. This legislation adjusts the payroll tax cap so higher income earners pay more into the system, strengthening stability for today's retirees and for future generations, including your children and grandchildren. Section 3. Care Facility Reform. Real oversight at last. Next is care facility reform, and this part still isn't getting enough attention even though it's absolutely essential. The painful reality is that nursing home abuse and neglect has been a persistent issue in the United States. Federal studies have repeatedly found that a shocking percentage of facilities have been cited for serious violations, understaffing, poor sanitation, medication errors, and in the worst cases, physical and emotional abuse. Under the Elder Care Protection Act, facilities that receive Medicare or Medicaid funding, which includes nearly all of them, must meet stricter staffing standards. The new rules require minimum caregiver to resident ratios. Translation: your mother or father should have a trained person available when help is needed, instead of one overwhelmed worker responsible for an entire hallway. Penalties for violating safety standards are also being raised substantially. In the past, fines were often so small that some facilities treated them as routine business costs. That changes now. Fines increase dramatically, and repeat offenders can face the loss of Medicare and Medicaid funding, which for most facilities is financially devastating. There are also new transparency requirements. Facilities must make inspection reports, staffing data, and violation histories available to the public. That means when you research a facility, you can see real facts, not just a polished brochure at the front desk. Section 4. Protection from senior financial exploitation, ending a silent epidemic. Now let's talk about senior financial exploitation, an issue that still doesn't receive the attention it deserves. This is a quiet epidemic, stealing tens of billions of dollars from older Americans every year. The scams come in every form: fake IRS calls, Medicare fraud, investment schemes, romance scams targeting widows and widowers, contractors who take deposits and vanish, and even exploitation by relatives or caregivers with access to a senior's finances. The FBI has repeatedly identified elder exploitation as one of the fastest growing crime categories, and many victims feel too embarrassed or too confused to report it. The Elder Care Protection Act establishes dedicated funding for prevention and prosecution. That means more trained federal investigators, more support for victims, and stronger coordination among federal agencies, state law enforcement, and financial institutions. Banks and credit unions are now required or strongly encouraged to flag suspicious activity in senior accounts and maintain clear reporting procedures for suspected exploitation. A sudden large withdrawal, repeated transfers to unfamiliar accounts, or a new name added to an older customer's account. These are warning signs, and financial institutions now have more authority and responsibility to respond. The law also funds public education campaigns directed at seniors because the best defense is awareness. When you understand the tactics scammers use, you become much harder to deceive. Section 5. Housing and aging in place, staying in the home you love. For many seniors, the home is the largest asset and the center of life. Aging in place, growing older, surrounded by your memories and your neighborhood, is what most people want. But most homes weren't built for later years. Stairs become dangerous. Bathrooms without grab bars become accident zones. Narrow doorways can block independence, and modifications can cost thousands that fixed-income seniors often don't have. The Elder Care Protection Act boosts funding for home modification programs through grants and low-interest loans. Eligible seniors can get help installing ramps, widening doors, adding walk-in showers, improving lighting, and making kitchens easier to use. These aren't luxury upgrades. They are the changes that help you stay safe, stay independent, and avoid a facility before you truly need one. The law also invests in affordable senior housing designed around accessibility, healthcare access, and social connection. And that matters because research shows chronic isolation in older adults can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's not exaggeration, that's evidence. Section 6. Mental Health Access, Ending the Silence. The Elder Care Protection Act also includes major provisions to expand mental health services for seniors on Medicare. Right now, getting mental health care through Medicare can be complicated, expensive, and limited. Many therapists don't take Medicare because reimbursement is too low, and stigma, especially strong in older generations, keeps many seniors from seeking help even when they need it. This legislation raises reimbursement for mental health providers and significantly expands telehealth options. That means seniors in rural communities or those with mobility challenges can access counseling from home. Grief, loss, chronic pain, fear of dependency, these burdens are real and support is becoming more reachable. Section 7. Caregiver Support, Help for the Unseen Heroes. Now let's talk about caregiver support because it impacts tens of millions of families and is often overlooked. An estimated 53 million unpaid family caregivers in the U.S. are caring for aging loved ones. These are spouses, sons, daughters, siblings, people carrying huge responsibilities while also working, raising children, and handling their own health. The strain is intense. Burnout is real. Depression among caregivers is common. And for years, these caregivers received almost no financial support, little training, and little recognition. That changes here. The Elder Care Protection Act creates new tax credits for family caregivers, helping them recoup some of what they spend on care. It funds caregiver training programs, and it expands respite care so caregivers can take breaks without guilt. A rested and trained caregiver provides better care. Everyone benefits. Section 8. Medicare Expansion, Dental, Vision, and Hearing. For years, there has been serious discussion about expanding Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing. Original Medicare typically doesn't cover routine dental care, routine eye exams, or hearing aids, an enormous gap because gum disease is linked to heart disease and dementia, vision loss increases falls, and hearing loss is a major risk factor for cognitive decline. These aren't cosmetic services, they are essential health needs. This act makes real progress. New subsidies will help Medicare beneficiaries afford hearing aids, which can cost thousands. Pilot programs expand dental access through federally qualified health centers, and funding for community vision programs is increased. It's not everything advocates want, but it's a meaningful step forward. What you must do right now. This section is non-negotiable. Not every benefit in this law happens automatically. Some require applications. Some require updates with Medicare or Social Security. Some have enrollment windows that, if missed, may be lost. Start by visiting your local Social Security office or the official Social Security Administration website. Schedule time with your State Health Insurance Assistance Program, SHIP, counselor. This is a free, unbiased service in every state, and these counselors are trained to help with exactly these types of changes. And be careful. Anyone contacting you claiming they can help you apply for new benefits while asking for money or personal information up front should raise a red flag. Scammers are already building pitches around this law. Within days of major legislation, con artists begin calling seniors to steal Medicare numbers, Social Security numbers, and bank details. Legitimate government help is free. SSA will not call demanding immediate action. Medicare will not ask for your credit card over the phone. If something feels wrong, hang up, close the browser, and call the official number yourself. Final thoughts. This is bigger than one law. Think about your own experience. Think about the moments when the system felt like it wasn't designed for you. Maybe it was standing at the pharmacy counter, deciding which prescription you could skip. Maybe it was watching a parent suffer in a facility with not enough staff. Maybe it was the gut drop moment when you realized money was missing from your account. Maybe it was sitting alone on a Tuesday and wondering if anyone in Washington even noticed. This law is not perfect. No single bill can fix everything, but it is a serious attempt to make life for older Americans meaningfully better. And more than anything, it's a signal, a sign that lawmakers finally looked at the challenges seniors face and said, "We see you, we hear you, and we're going to act." There are still fights ahead. Implementation takes time. Pharmaceutical giants, negligent facility chains, and financial predators won't step back quietly. They will lobby, they will sue, they will try to weaken the protections you just gained. That's why you must stay informed, stay engaged, and stay alert. The strongest protection for any law is a public that understands what's at stake and refuses to let it be taken away. Knowledge is power. Share this with every senior you know, your parents, your neighbors, your friends, and anyone in your community who is trying to navigate retirement on a fixed income. And if you want more clear, practical breakdowns like this, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay connected. Because the more informed you are, the harder it is for anyone to quietly take away what you've earned.